Hey guys, Simone here. Um, it's weird because I don't normally turn on my camera for video a lot unless it's something that's really serious or something really vulnerable or personal to me. I don't know that I've done a video like this in several years. And part of that is just, I don't know, I'm more person to person. And so I love social media for what it is. But I know that a lot of engaging and teaching and learning and battle has to happen in small circles, person to person. So obviously, you guys have been seeing what's happening in the media and in the world, really. Just aggressive acts of murder against African Americans. And here's the thing: this has been happening for years. This isn't new. Something on social media said it's just getting filmed now, right? It's just getting filmed now, and so it's more public. And you know, a lot of people who I love, they're in my life, keep asking me, so what do we do? What do we do? How do we stop this? We want to end racism. We hate that things like this are happening. Like, what do we do? And, a lot of times they think, well, I'll just post something on social media and that's good. And I'm not saying that that's not great. Please do. Like, yes, absolutely. Like, there needs to be widespread sharing of what it is that's actually happening. So again, I love social media for what it is, but I want to challenge everybody and push you a little bit further to something. When you ask me what to do, I'm going to tell you exactly what to do with this. Yes, sure, make your post, reshare that meme, like that post, put your prayer emoji, whatever, on the date and time, because a lot of times it feels so big and then it passes and then it's not. And people choose to forget, and it's not a big thing. It's not a fad. It's not trending. And here's the thing, like, we're more than that. We're more than just a moment in time of like a trend of like, here, let me just post this one thing. This is so much bigger than that. This has got to be person to person. This has to be a part of your life. At the beginning of this year, towards the end of last year, beginning of this year, I read the book Boundaries again for the second time. And it was amazing because it was like, it almost felt like I was reading it for the first time. I could immediately see how this needed to apply to certain parts of my life. And the uncomfortable parts was Boundaries says, it's being able to say, I'm going to draw a line in the sand and say, this cannot cross, this can. This is a line that can be permeated to let good in and bad out and things of that nature. And here's the truth. We as a society, as a culture, as a nation, as a country, as a world, we have a boundary issue. We have a boundary issue, we do. And so, this in a lot of ways is unpopular opinion, but I'm going to bring it to you because enough of you have asked me, what do we do? That I want to answer the question. And typically, like I said, I do this person to person. I've done ministry for years now. Worked in a church, worked for Life Church for a little bit, and did youth ministry, and then left there, and it didn't stop. Whether I'm employed by a church or not, I'm in the business of ministry. I'm in the business of people. I'm in the business of Jesus. I'm in the business of unification. I'm in the business of healing. I'm in the business of whole. And that's why I'm making this video. I normally don't engage in things like this on social media. I do it person to person, but this, I just knew I needed to speak. The other night I woke up from having a terrible nightmare, and where all 6 of my brothers had been hunted down and killed. I'm crying. I can't breathe. I mean, this is normal though. That wasn't the first time I've had that dream. I got up, I cleared the majority of my day of what I could clear, and I went and I spent time with my family. I needed to see my brothers. I wanted to put my hands on them and hug them and love them and kiss their foreheads and pray over them and then think I'm crazy because, big older sister has showed up and is being weird. But it's because I value and I cherish their life. And I have this fear that someone is going to take it from them prematurely. Is going to take it from them. And why? Because their skin is brown? Yeah. We absolutely have to do better. This is ridiculous. Yes, racism exists. It is not eradicated. I'm so glad that social media and phones and things like that exist to be able to show the truth of what is happening. That is blatant, aggressive racism. Not to mention the little things that are a little bit more passive that people don't always see. I experienced some of that at the last place that I worked for. Right? Under the table, underhanded little comments here and there, wage gaps, things of that nature, racism. And so when people ask me, what can we do? My answer is, you need to set some freaking boundaries. Set boundaries. When you set boundaries, it lets people know what you tolerate and what you will not tolerate. It says this can come in, but this cannot. This can stand, but this cannot. Set some boundaries. And so that means, I had a friend I was talking to, and he said, yeah, once I remember I was younger, I had a guy that worked for me, and he said something, and he said a racial slur and said the N-word, and, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I just keep what he addressed it. And he was like, but I just kept wondering, do I fire him in that situation? Absolutely, yes. Until you speak up and say, this will not be tolerated. And I'm going to show you with a tangible action, not just see and say, don't do that. Let me post this thing. That's not enough. An action associated with it that says there's distance, there's a boundary. I'm not tolerating it. We can't be friends while you're like this. You're going to have to work on some things. People don't learn. And he said, I wanted to try to be mindful of the growth and things. And I said, that will help them grow. When I think of Amy Cooper, the video thing, I watched, I'm like, she felt that when they fired her. This will not be tolerated. What are you going to do with your influence? What are you going to do with what you can control, which is going to be your voice, your time, your money, right? The things that come out of your mouth and the things that don't. How you spend your time and who you spend it with. Who's in your circle? Your money. What do you give to? Are you giving to different things that are racist in nature? Whether you're a business owner or not, or you're just a consumer. You have to start speaking up with those things. You have to start setting boundaries and saying, absolutely not, this will not go. Yes, we have to do better. I was glad to finally see multiple church leaders speak up and say something, using their influence for the groups of people that they shepherd and have been given the ability and the privilege, really, to steward, the burden to steward. I was glad. But the bottom line is that it comes down to this. That's not going to do it. That's not enough. It's about person to person. When somebody makes a racial slur, call them out and say, I'm done with that. When they're discriminatory, say something. When they're abusing someone, do something. Don't just stand by and watch and think, I'll just post something later. It has to be more than that. It's about person to person. And it's uncomfortable. Here's the truth. I got a lot of white friends. And I have no problem engaging in those conversations with them. And so this is to people of color too. Engage. Do not run. Do not shy away from the conversation. you have a responsibility to speak up. And it's okay if you have to set the boundary and say, I got to step away from this relationship, but you need to speak up. Too often I see people that are wronged or they witness something, and instead of going forward because they're afraid, they just say, no, I'm just going to like leave. Fight or flight. We don't know how to communicate. Grow up. It's time to learn how to communicate. It's time to learn how to engage. It's time to learn how to set some boundaries. I'm sick of this. You want to break bread with me? You want to be in my inner circle? You want to be my friend? Then be a friend. You want to be a part of the church? Then be the church. Grieve with those who grieve. Take action. Do something. Do not perpetuate the cycle. Do not sit by and stand and watch as things unfold. Do something. Be a part of it. This took me a lot to film this because I've been crying for the past 24 hours. And I didn't want to make the video. But I thought, this isn't about global, everybody needs to watch this. This is about my sphere of influence, my friends. If you are friends with Simone Graves, if you're an acquaintance of mine, I am begging you to do something. Yeah, sure. Post it, repost, whatever. That's great. Please do that. But in your daily life, your day-to-day, let your actions reflect it. In the Word of God, it says, be doers of the word, not just hearers. That means that there's an action. So what are we going to do? I'm tired. I'm worn out. I'm sick of having nightmares of my 6 beautiful, perfect, lovely, amazing, smart, Christ-loving, serving-hearted, amazing Black little brothers being murdered. I'm sick of it. If you love me, if you're my friend, I'm begging you, do something.